Hello there folks, this is Ferenj on board again. Welcome to my YouTube channel, a place where I discuss things about spirituality and share my wisdom and thoughts on dream interpretation, introspection, and other things and questions that people have, uh, inclusive of Quora, but not always, because that's where I can definitely find uh, people to ask questions. And usually I prefer coming up with things that I receive answers for and interpret them based on my own perceptions, experience, and sources that I have come up uh, with and actually encountered and read or seen. So do not rush in taking whatever I say for granted. Just know that they are a point of mine, and of course through the prisms of my own existence. Okay, so usually in each video I create, yes, I present different bits of wisdom that I have on different topics. And today I would like to share something quite more important, I'd say, than what I have created, and that of loving yourself and, beyond just loving yourself. The point that you're not just your physical body and you're not just a bit of flesh that is ruled by some muscle and supported physically by some bone. Well, to a certain very limited perspective, that is true, but beyond that, it is also true, but it is not the only thing. Throughout existence, we do not understand the basic principle of life, that in the infinity of life where we live, everything is sacred, whole, and complete. The point about our existence is we have to understand that in this simulation, in this reality, just like a VR environment, we are nothing else than players in an environment full of NPCs. These NPCs have the purpose of simply stripping us from whoever we know we are, from our awareness of the greater that lies beyond the physical. And they entice us into the game, just like people become so addicted to a game when they play it for the first time. And they forget who they really are. Because the more aware you become to another environment, the less aware you become to other things. Just like the more you worry about something, the less aware you are of your other feelings and emotions, like the positivity that simply wishes to manifest through you. And there was a quote that actually said, for every 60 seconds that you spend being in lower vibes, you actually lose 1 minute of being in positive vibes. Which of course it is not possible each and every time, but our striving should be towards positivity. But nowadays many people think that it is good to suffer in the name of art, or it is good to suffer in the name of literally everything because it's fashionable or something like that. And deep down inside many people get the feeling that if they suffer enough, they will draw attention. Most likely they will, but not the right attention, I can say. Now the point about our body is, it is a choice. In this game called existence, which is nothing else than a galactic experiment to see who is the bravest amongst the beings in this universe and beyond, that, they are courageous enough to experiment in here and experience it in such a way that from the greatness and vastness that they are, they become almost nothing, and through that they keep increasing and increasing. But the point is, the ticket in here is a multiple way in ticket. Once you have taken the ticket in, the point is, unplugging from this cycle is not as easy to do because most likely it will destroy you. I'm not truly sure about this, but the point is, there is a vicious cycle, and in order to rediscover yourself, experimenting in this life is very crucial because it will allow yourself to become more and more aware to who you truly are. To put it in a simple definition, this process is about covering yourself in, let's call it, karmic mud or something like that, and you're technically becoming just like simple carbon or whatever else that is being buried under more and more karmic mud. But let's not forget that the earth that will suddenly cover you and from which you are born okay? Because there is a quote that says we are born from the earth, and in the end, our body is nothing else than a kind of a loan. If you think about it, it comes from this mother, it comes from this planet, this life-giving entity, and well, in the end, you're gonna give it. Irrespective of how you treated it, you're gonna give it back. The way you treat it will just decide how sooner or if even a bit later you will give it, but giving it back is still something unavoidable. It is a bit funny that there are so many people nowadays who suffer from this immortality syndrome, the way I call it, and they still think that they won't be dying, and then they suddenly feel shocked when they see people around them actually start dying, and then they manifest all these uh, codings of hatred, repulsion, and whatever, because they finally realize they haven't been doing anything with their lives. The point of one of the objectives, or let's say one of the quests of this game, is to never get emotionally attached. The more emotionally attached you become towards anything, the more you impregnate yourself with karmic debt, I can say, because you're basically poisoning yourself with all sorts of emotions that um, do not end up supporting you. And that is again adding up to the pile of, let's say, karmic earth or mud, whatever you want to call it. And the point is, that is how enlightenment actually happens. Because in time, through numerous countless lives you have to experience, you will have such a low awareness that it simply doesn't matter much what you do. Your manifesting potential simply does not exist, because when you have little to no awareness, you cannot have a potential to manifest, because people will easily get into negative emotions. And imagine that, how many times in your life have you wished to die out of desperation or self-hatred or whatever? Now the point is, you don't need to even think about manifesting that, because it's already on its way. Do not worry about dying. That's the easiest thing to do or achieve in the end, because some can perform suicide, some can simply just live their lives, and irrespective of the situations, the saying farewell to this magnificent piece of intelligence that our body is, that is something that will always happen. It will happen sooner or later, irregarding of whatever nation or whatever mud you have been acquiring and or even purging from yourself. Because the point is, enlightenment is just like becoming a diamond. The more lives you live in small awareness, your awareness will increase slowly and surely. It takes more or less lives to understand that you're just not only this physical body, although up till now people are still stuck in the experience that they are only that body. But to each and every facet of consciousness, or you may call it soul, but I do not believe in the idea of a soul anyways, the point is that, you see, each facet of consciousness has to experience their own things in life. Consider them just like different players. They are all players at different levels within this game, and this game has numerous worlds, let's say. Just like you have multiple realms in, MMORPGs, there are different realms that you can go from one to another, or who knows, they are actually different servers. Basically, there's the same set of maps, but it's like parallel realities. Now, the point about this world is, one of the most important things is loving yourself. Sure, this is not something that easily comes, but with the manifestation of so many negative emotions, you become more and more aware of who and what you are, slowly and surely. The point is, all that karmic earth that is, well, let's say that you are burying yourself under, because the point of existence is to understand the underlying effects of yourself, the deeper aspects of yourself, not just the physical. The physical is the easiest to understand. Just take a look into the mirror. That is, if you are courageous enough, of course. Now, if you take a look into the mirror, you will easily see that you have a body shape. There is a tremendous amount of intelligence, of, usually I call it a code, a back code as I can call, because I like programming, and actually this world is nothing else than a set of programming. There is an almost infinite amount of coding that allows all the movement and all the perception and existence of this universe. Even your whole body has so much coding within it that people are so simple still in their awareness. They do not realize literally everything, and their whole existence is all about claiming. Parents claim their children, and all sorts of ideas. Everything is mine, my name, my existence, my body. But you didn't claim those, okay? It is not your name. It is your name because you accepted it, not because you came up with it. The only name that you can put yourself is if you change your current name, or if you attribute yourself a nickname. And if those nicknames don't come from something like lower self-esteem or self-hatred, then they can be actually a pinpoint towards your previous lives. In my case, I would usually call myself the awkward one or the odd one because I knew that I was completely different from others. And later on, I actually entitled myself the self-peculiar because I was only similar to myself. And then when I followed some, those funny little discover yourself psychology tests that you can find on the internet, I actually followed two of those. And, well, guess what? The tests were called Discover Your Inner Name, or Your Nickname, or something like that. I don't remember. And there were two different sets. I mean, there were two different tests with different questions each. And the first one said, well, your nickname is the self-peculiar. And I was like, didn't I think about this nickname like 10 years before or something like that? Or, well, many years, let's say, not necessarily 10. And the other one, so the one called me the self-peculiar, and the other one called me the peculiar one. And there were different tests. Of course, yes, on the same site, but, the questions were different. And I was quite amused and said, okay. And there was a colleague near me, someone who, I can say she had a liking towards me, and actually she told me that's kind of true, because she got to know a bit about myself. Now the point about your existence and your body is that you have to understand the point that loving yourself is not what you see nowadays, okay? The reason why you see so many people trapped in the matrix is because they are nothing else than NPCs. They don't have a life of their own. You have to understand that those people are just NPCs, okay? Just like the NPCs in the games, I also have a big quote of mine that says, you never ever mess with the NPCs. Because they have a simple coding, and the point is you cannot strip them from that coding. Even if you play the video game of your life and you fall in love with an NPC, it will still do what its coding tells it, okay? Now you can go on the internet and visit any of those awkward rule X, rule Y on the internet, and view porn of that if you want or whatever, but those are just fan created imaginations, okay? I'm not against literally anything, but the point is, you may fantasize about your beloved NPCs as much as you want, but the point is, the coding they have is that much they can do, at least in that current existence. So the point is, so many people around, they're not against you, it's just their coding, okay? So one of the first ways to start loving yourself is to realize that life does not happen against you, it happens for you. Everything is a mini lesson. If something repeats in your life and it pisses you off, it's a great reminder that you're missing something. That which angers you controls you. That is why everything in this life will play you emotionally. You will be played in this life through your emotions. How? Well, very simple. If something gets your attention, where your attention goes, your energy will flow. That is why there are those people who you simply seem like you're dying around them. You simply feel like they're, like stripping you of life almost. They're making you almost fall asleep because all they do is just they take from you. They're just energy vampires. And in realizing that you have to love yourself, you have to understand one thing. In this infinity of life, although I do not embrace infinity, but okay, in this infinity where life is, okay, you came here to experience, and experiencing life means to just learn and experience, okay? It means to experience things and to learn. That is the whole simple point and importance of life. There is nothing beyond that. Everything else is just meaning we have created so that we have different, let's say, premises within which to exist and move and understand things. But you have to understand one thing. The whole point of meaning is that you're only fooling yourself. You have created some concepts and you're treating these concepts like rules because you're abiding to these concepts and you have the feeling that you're understanding the world. But what you're understanding is just concepts that you have created. Worse than that, people have even forgotten what those concepts actually mean, and the point is they're not even understanding the concepts they themselves have created. And that is a point of illiteracy, and illiteracy means nothing else than ignorance, because to educate means to bring out of ignorance, okay? There are two aspects in this world, and there is ignorance, and there is also a thing called education. That is why by removing education and keeping people in ignorance, it is easy to control them because they have little to no awareness of their own. But the point is, you cannot educate the NPCs because the NPCs, again, they have their own coding. Their point is to suffer in this world, not because I say or the universe says. They are souls who, or let's call them actually facets of consciousness, because I prefer this concept a bit more. And their purpose is to simply experience life in their own way, okay? Through their existence, they have their own purpose, okay? Through their negativity that they're feeling, because you will never see a bot that has a happy life. Sure, you can see them having a happy life on Instagram and whatever other such platforms, but you have to realize that if someone is smiling or showing you happy faces, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily happy. It may mean that they want your happiness instead. That is why there are so many clingy people. They will laugh, they will do whatever so that they can crawl under your skin. And the only reason is that they want a piece of your happiness. Actually, they want it all and they want you dead, because when it comes to hatred, basically hatred is about having or snatching everything that others have, but that's all a game most likely in your mind. Because you're imagining that other people have something through hatred, and then you feel that you are entitled towards that. And you also don't have any regard towards those people. That is how these lower vibrational bots actually exist. Whatever these NPCs do you is just a part of their coding. And the only person whose fault it is actually yours. Because when you did something to them, you just triggered their coding. And some of these NPCs' coding is to hurt you. It's just like pushing your finger against the thorn of a rose. It will sting you because that's technically, if you do it against its tip, that's basically what physics will have it happen. And physics is nothing else than the bunch of codes. Okay? Physics is a mere understanding we have created. It's a mere attempt to understand the coding of the universe, and we're doing it mostly wrong because we're doing nothing else than giving meaning and associating the small intricate mechanics of our planet towards the intricate big mechanics of the universe. Nothing in the universe may be the same as on our planet, okay? Every other planet is like a different personality. Each planet has its own personality, and you will see that things manifest differently in there. Even if we as physical body dwellers, okay, although the body lives in the consciousness, not the consciousness lives in the body, but let's say it as most people believe that we live in the body, the point is, every human being on this planet actually has its own body. But people don't even cherish that body because there is so much amount of coding that happens within it. They just look at themselves and they say they dislike themselves, but the question, they don't even ask themselves what is it that they actually dislike of themselves. They just compare themselves to some other people who appear to be having a great life, and deep down inside everyone craves to have a simple life that is also happy, because in the end that's one of the reasons why you came here, to increase our vibration. Irrespective of the age we have been living through, medieval times, ancient times, everything has its own purpose, and nothing in this universe will happen without its own accord. So the point about loving yourself is you have to understand that there are so many things happening into your body, and the only reason those things happen is for you to experience the best out of this life. Because you have to understand, in order, and I have been speaking about this in my previous videos indirectly, you have to understand that in order to experience a certain dimension of life, or let's call it a perception of life, you need a specialized body for that. Through our human body, we only perceive, I don't know, 1% or 2% of the visual light spectrum, okay? And 1% equals us being quite blind to the universe. If you go into the body of a fly, you will see that they see completely different. They see in ultraviolet, which means their perception of life is completely different. If you go into a cat's body, you will see that they are more connected to different dimensions, and that is why they are so less active at many times. Because what they are doing is they are performing different tasks in different universes as well. They are interested in preserving their physical integrity, and they also know, like animals do, that they don't necessarily want more misery from other people. That is why usually you will see cats moving away from most people, because they simply don't want more of that negativity. But at the same time, when they are ready, because there are cycles in life, there are highs and lows, and when cats are ready to spiritually feed, they will be drawn by negativity. That's why you will always find cats in places that are haunted or different spaces, because they are basically purgers of, let's say, negative energy. And this is something that actually they are performing. And having cats in your house is not a bad thing either, but most people have pets just because they lack attention. And in that lack of attention and also lack of awareness and self-love, they want someone because they are attachy. They are codependent. They need someone in their life to consider as a slave. But if you want slaves in your life, you should realize that control is something that is always done in reverse. And you should actually see my video called Why the Master is the Slave and Why the Slave is the Master. It is a point in which I speak about why things are in reverse, and things are in reverse in this universe because the point is we are here to discover our own truth. That is why all these NPCs will never ever say anything true about ourselves, and you have to understand that to love yourself you have to understand another point. People who call you names, they don't say anything else than the opinion they have about themselves, because basically no one says anything about themselves about others. It's just what they feel about themselves. If someone calls you a loser or an idiot, the simple point is that that's their opinion about themselves. Once you realize that, it's so easy to live your life further because, let's face it, when you experience life, you have to understand that everyone, everyone in your existence is nothing else than a vehicle. Your friends are a vehicle, your parents are a vehicle, but ever since you are young, you are taught to attach yourself to these, you know, bodies and to these people as if they are something critical. And yes, to a certain extent of life, they are critical. Up till the age of 21, when spiritually speaking a cycle is ended, okay, they are important. But after the age of 21, spiritually speaking, mother and child become finally separate, and they cannot be made together. Sure, they can physically live together, it's not a problem, but that is the moment when they are somewhat separate. And you will see in your life that starting from that age, usually, or at times even a bit younger, you will have a natural urge to move away from your family. Now, society usually makes it through self-impoverishment that you won't be having the money to move away, and everything is made so that you think that you shouldn't be getting your own house, because the point is you will be participating to the expansion of the human over nature, and humans are destroying nature, and all sorts of these ideas that only minimize you. They're just parts of the test, okay? And the more the readier you are for each question, there are other ones that come in, because they are only quests that you have to fulfill in life. There is nothing beyond that. They are just things that you have to learn in life, and each life will teach you different things. Now, as you become fuller and fuller of that karmic earth that I've been saying, the pressures against you will be greater and greater, and that is how awakening starts forming. Because the carbon that you are, because basically you are nothing else than carbon, and it actually serves the existence of life, because it is the giver of life on this planet. It is the sustainer of life in this planet, okay? So the point is, that piece of charcoal, that piece of carbon that you are, it gets compressed much more and much more. And you know that charcoal becomes diamonds with the right amount of time and the right amount of pressures. That is the point. Now, a hideous point about stripping Mother Earth of these diamonds is that those diamonds are like little organs to Mother Earth, okay? They are little protective barriers that help against different forces that manifest, because Mother Earth is a consciousness as well, and it has its own negativity as well. Don't think that it has its positivity only. It has its negative aspects as well, because consciousness is and always will be an amalgamous, well, let's call it a combination of positivity and negativity. They both are intertwined. You cannot separate those, especially in this universe. So the point is, there are negative aspects to this planet and to this world that the planet will be protecting us through different aspects. And the more you remove gold from its inner structure, from its inner selves, the more you will manifest different things into the world, because those things will have its own impact. Every little thing on this planet and in the universe plays its role. Even this planet. This planet is nothing but a speck of dust in the solar system, which again is a speck of dust compared to the galaxy. And the galaxy is nothing else than a speck of dust in this universe. And this universe might be a speck of dust in a multitude of parallel infinite universes that are always constantly appearing. Some of them may be perishing because, yes, creation has its own end at a time. When creation experiences everything that has to be experienced, its termination is gonna happen because there is nothing more to experience in that. That is why the enlightened people, they have experienced life through all possible, or maybe almost all possible parts. But I think they have experienced everything that can be experienced through the prism of this body and in this world. That is why they also died at a certain age. They all died at a certain age of 33. But it's not that they died, okay, because they didn't die of, well, Jesus kind of died because he was killed. But other enlightened beings actually left their bodies through their chakras, okay? And it is not something that can be called a suicide, okay? Only when you become one with existence, one with creation, then you can simply discard the body, because the body is a gift from life. And in the end, this gift comes with a request to experience through the prism of this life, okay? But people are turning this prism into a prison because no one teaches them how to, train their minds. But come again, there is no need for training their minds and the emotions. These beings are authentic to themselves even in their misery, because that's their coding. You don't need to train their minds. Everything you need to do is train your mind and find other players and help them, just like you would do in a virtual world. You have to understand this, okay? There is no reason to help others, because necessarily most of those are nothing else than NPCs, and you cannot help NPCs beyond the code that they have. I've been repeating this so that you're finally, hopefully, understanding this. If you are not able to understand this truth, you will. But it's definitely not the time in most situations, and I'm sure people will only cognitively understand this, because this has to come from a place of within. Many people say I understand, but the point of that understanding is that they understand the meaning that they have attached, okay? Because it made a logical sense to them. That is why people say I understand, but they do not understand the deeper meanings of that, okay? So The point about loving yourself is that you have to understand that this body is so much more than that. And its only purpose is to allow you to experience the best. You have most likely gone through being like really drunk, really bad, really sad situations, a lot of pain and traumas. And the body did its best to make sure that you experience everything, because that is how you learn in life. You cannot understand who you are if you don't go through traumas, because if you don't go through some sorts of traumas and abuses, especially from parents and friends and whatever, because your parents and your family are nothing else than these NPCs. Their purpose was, well, they were created to experience life as well, to their minimum amount of experience that they can have. But their greater purpose was to bring you into existence. And you are a phenomenal being, just like they are. It's just that, from a perspective point of view, they are, much smaller, much. I cannot call them insignificant because, they are not insignificant. They have their own purpose. And their purpose is to teach you who you are. And they are to be taken as examples in life, examples of how not to be. But they are authentic. That is why you cannot change them. They are the most authentic ones because that is their coding and they are true to their code. Once you are born, you are a more intricate person. The more intricate the awareness is, the more susceptible you will be to programming. And the point is, at a certain moment, the pressure will be so much that you will actually need to revert to the awakening process, because basically through awakening, you are starting to burn through that mud, okay? You are nothing else than a diamond that is being forged through the pressures of the karmic mud that you have acquired, okay, in your previous lives and in between the lives, because in order to incarnate yourself in a body, you need to go through a lot of experience and, let's say, quests, so that you accumulate the memory that is needed, okay, let's say, to create the code that is needed for your body to work. And then when your body is complete, you just embody it, okay? And it is said through Reiki that a body, a spirit, let's say, or a facet of consciousness will be looking for a body actively for a long time. And they will be looking through different families because they will try to see which would be most suitable for them to learn, and also the most suitable environment to learn what they need to learn. Because they have to understand that when they start this game of life, they have some big quests, most likely that they will forget. But in their coding, they will have everything needed that will remind them. They will have thoughts that will come to their mind, and there will be the right people that will come into their mind, even if accidentally. They will just be passing people that say something probably stupid to most other people, but to you it will be an activational code, because that's how code exists. Everything when you are born is like a set of conditionals that are all set to false. And as life develops, when a certain age is reached, when a certain event happens, when a certain condition or set of conditions is met, that condition, okay, for the quest becomes true. So you will start thinking that you have a new affinity, or you will feel that a certain change happened. The life is just a simple code. The code is very intricate if you actually go dive deep into it and become truly introspective, but the point is, it's not that hard to understand it. You just have to understand a, let's say, a universal language. It's probably gonna be a big challenge for others, but it's gonna be a challenge just because you accept it. To me, it's not a challenge. I just accept it and it comes. It's as simple as that. So you have to understand that the greatest form of self-love is that of relinquishing the identity of just being a physical body, okay? And accepting yourself as the cosmic entity, as a cosmic identity that you are, okay? Your body is nothing else than, the physical outlier that you see. That is your so reduced awareness that you have been acquiring from other people. You believe that the body is nothing else than this piece of flesh and bone, but the point is, your body is so much more. Each of your organs has a tremendous amount of intelligence and coding that works in such a way that it performs each and every bit the best they can. Now again, the way you keep your body in balance or imbalance, that's gonna dictate how things actually work. And your emotions also dictate that. And everything in this world actually impacts you, from the smallest bit of gold deep down inside the earth, to the bit of gold that you may have in your house, to the money that you have in your hand, because money is also impregnated by the energy of every person that piece of money has been through. So basically, when you circulate through money, you're also getting a lot of ideas that have been impregnated on them by the people that held those. Because anytime you manifest a thought and an idea or an emotion, you impregnate everything that is around you. That is why I will keep saying that the thoughts that come to your mind and the emotions that you seem to experience, they are not yours. They are just purges of manifestations that have come into contact with you. You should go and visit my video called The Pendulum Effect. It presents a bit about that, and the pendulum effect is something that I also speak about in different videos because I do love over delivering. So the body is much more than that. You have to not forget that you have seven main chakras or energy centers. There are 112 energy centers in your body that represent different organs, different sub-organs, or different parts of your body throughout your whole body. And these are just, let's call them like towns, okay? Like towns of energy, okay? That are interconnected by thousands, if not, if I remember correctly, 30, 40, or I think 50 or 60,000 junction points, okay, which are much smaller in a way but no less significant. These are called nadis by the Eastern societies, well, let's say the Eastern wisdom more like, and you should actually read about that as well. And the more you dive into the intricacy of your body, you will see that it actually is a great amount of intelligence that cannot be manifested anything towards it other than love, because once you become more and more aware of the intricacy that lies behind your existence, there is no such thing than non-love feeling that you can feel. The more aware you will become, the more love you will naturally feel. And also gratitude starts to pop in. The more love you feel for yourself, gratitude also comes in. The more gratitude you feel authentically, and then you will start raising your vibration. And you will see that awakening happens, because everything happens by you entombing yourself in all sorts of illusions, and then burning slowly and surely through all of them, until you become one and the same with creation. And that is the journey of existence. Hope you have experienced through this video, and hopefully you have liked this type of content that I have created. I'm looking forward to creating more of this. Now, the point about self-love is just understand that everything happens for you, and it is only your fault that something bad happens, because so whatever you have performed in this life especially, not necessarily in previous lives, in this life especially, you have drawn that, but through that negative manifestation, you have also purged a bit of your karmic debt, because to a certain extent there is that in each and every one of us. But you don't have to see this karmic debt as a sin, like Christianity has it so, like some kind of, the more karma you have, the more brutally you will be punished, okay, and judged. There is a simple point. Life has to be just experienced. There is no hell, there is no heaven, and there is no God or whatever deities you want to create, okay. Those deities are something that you can acquire and believe in as a form of seeing creation, because creation does not need a form. You are part of creation. As long as you love yourself, you love creation, because through loving yourself authentically, you love creation as well. Many people believe that loving yourself is just something narcissistic, and as usual, I will keep repeating you that life is always taught in reverse, because the truth can never ever be taught to people, because people will never be, or very rarely be, will be ready for the truth. This is a false statement, I will say, because people are always ready for the truth, because they are the truth. They are embodying the truth of what they are, okay. And as I said, most people are NPCs because their purpose is to help you experience that. They are souls that are not ready to use the human body the way it should be, and you have to understand that. They are doing everything they can to teach you whatever you need to teach, because at a higher perspective they know that you have much greater experience as a human being, and the greater you become in experiencing things, the more you can help them in other existences, because everything is how I can help you evolve. It's like you have some good friends and you're the best at a certain game, so they will do whatever to help you also, because you see, when you go into the games that they are good, okay, they will help you, okay, because they are true friends. When they come to your game, you will do whatever you can to help them, because technically they are nothing else than bots, okay. As they learn through the game, they are kind of bots, okay. They are using the skills for the first time, they are understanding some of the intricacies of the game, and you are nothing else than a guide for them. That is the point, okay. So loving yourself is a complex process, but in the end it all is based on your awareness. Now, hopefully you have liked this video. I'm looking forward to your opinions, and as usual, like and subscribe if you like. Share it with everyone so that we can together raise the awareness of the players, let's say, because you have to understand that NPCs' awareness cannot be increased. They are already authentic, okay? They are already authentic, and they are already living their truth. That is the truth of who they really are. And the point is, becoming like them will hurt you, because it is a great reminder that you are not like them. As usual, you are loved and appreciated. Peace and namaste to every one of you. I'm grateful for each and every one that is supporting my channel and that is viewing my content, and well, that is hopefully experiencing and becoming more introspective through the prism of what I offer, because I try to be as introspective as possible, but at times I have to limit it because not everyone may be ready for, some of my levels of introspection. And I'm not calling myself the, best introspective person, but you see, comparing myself a little, I just see that some people are waking themselves up, but it's just that my awareness seems to be much deeper than other people's, and I'm not creating this channel to pull other people down. Each and every one of us is at their own level. It just seems that I'm at a greater level than others, and I'm just grateful for that, because that has allowed me to experience so many things, and now I'm getting more and more ready to actually share it with the world. You are loved and appreciated. Take care of yourself. Ferenc Can Board signing out.